Tonight, you'll discover a powerful secret that Buddhist monks have used for centuries to quiet the restless mind and find deep, meaningful rest. So make yourself comfortable. Adjust your pillow. Let your body become heavy against the bed. Take one deep breath with me now. Feel the air fill your lungs, then slowly release it as if you are sighing out all the tension you've been holding. This space is yours to linger in at your own gentle pace, a calm, unhurried journey meant to cradle your mind and spirit softly. So take a moment to prepare your surroundings. Maybe wrap yourself in a warm blanket, soften the light, or enjoy a quiet sip of tea. Allow yourself the gift of time and presence to fully receive what this evening will offer. So before we settle in, feel free to like and subscribe, only if this space brings you peace. And if you'd like, share where you're watching from and what time it is locally. It's a gentle way to connect us all in this moment. In the quiet moments between breaths, there is a sacred space, a space where control gently loosens its grip and peace quietly steps in. This is the heart of our journey together tonight, learning the quiet power of letting go. We live in a world that often tells us to push harder, to plan every step, to clutch tightly to outcomes and results. But the truth Buddhism offers us is different. It teaches that the tighter we cling, the more we suffer. Like holding on to sand, the harder we grip, the more slips through our fingers. Tonight, I invite you to explore the wisdom of release, to see how surrender, not giving up, but gently letting go, can open doors to blessings you never imagined. As you listen, imagine the clouds parting after a storm, the sky clearing, the light softly returning. This is what happens when we loosen our hold. Calm replaces chaos, space replaces pressure, and life unfolds in its own perfect timing. Letting go doesn't mean doing nothing. It means trusting the flow of life. It means recognizing what you can change and what is best left to the unfolding of the universe. Imagine a river. It doesn't force its way through the rocks. It flows around them, steady and sure. In this first story, you will meet a man whose life was consumed by his need to control every outcome. His struggle is a mirror for many of us, a reflection of the resistance that blocks the natural flow of peace. Through his journey, we'll see how surrender became his greatest strength. Now dim the lights, maybe light a candle or incense, and let's wander into stillness together. Let's begin with our first story. Once there was a man named Jin who lived in a small village nestled between the mountains and the sea. Jin was known for his determination and willpower. He believed that if he worked hard enough and controlled every aspect of his life, he could prevent misfortune and secure happiness. Jin's days were filled with plans and worries about the weather, his harvest, his family's health. He checked the skies, constantly trying to predict the coming storms, and he made sure every step was calculated, every risk avoided. But no matter how much he planned, Jin felt restless and anxious. His heart was heavy with the burden of control, and the peace he sought seemed to drift further away. One evening, an old monk visiting the village noticed Jin's troubled gaze and invited him to sit by the fire. "Why do you look so burdened, friend?" the monk asked gently. "I am trying to protect all that I love," Jin replied. "But I fear the future is uncertain. I must control it, or disaster will come." The monk smiled softly and said, "Tell me, do you think the sky controls the storm? Or does it let the storm pass through?" Jin was puzzled. "The sky lets the storm pass." "Exactly," said the monk. "The sky does not fight the storm. It does not resist it. It simply allows it to come and go, knowing that the storm will pass and the sky will clear again. You too can learn to let go and trust the natural rhythm of life. Jin pondered these words long into the night. Slowly, he began to loosen his grip, not all at once, but in small moments, releasing a worry here, accepting uncertainty there. And with each breath of surrender, a quiet peace grew inside him. Over time, Jin realized that by letting go of control, he wasn't losing strength. He was gaining freedom. The river of his life flowed more smoothly, and unexpected blessings found their way to him, blessings that no amount of planning could have forced. This story is a gentle reminder that the power of letting go is a quiet strength. It invites us to trust life's unfolding rather than resist it, to hold our dreams with open hands instead of clenched fists. The Buddha taught us, you only lose what you cling to. When we release attachment to outcomes, we create space for life's natural grace. Now take a moment to breathe deeply. Feel what it might be like to loosen your grip on a worry, a fear, or a need for certainty. What peace might you invite in its place? As you carry this feeling with you, know that this is just the beginning of our journey together. Each story we share will unfold another layer of wisdom, another path toward calm and fulfillment. Let your mind be like the sky, vast, open, and patient. Let the storm pass without resistance. In the next section, we will explore how to observe the mind itself, like a still lake reflecting the moon, a practice that helps us find inner calm amid life's ever-changing tides. For now, rest in this quiet power of letting go. Imagine yourself sitting beside a quiet lake on a calm night. The water is so still, so perfectly undisturbed, that it mirrors the moon above with breathtaking clarity. The gentle silver glow dances softly on the surface, yet the water beneath remains calm, deep, and undisturbed. This lake becomes a symbol for your mind, a place where thoughts arise like ripples, but can settle back into stillness, if only you let them. Tonight, we turn our attention inward to this still lake of the mind. The practice of observing your thoughts without clinging, without judgment, is one of the most profound gifts Buddhism offers for calming the restless heart. Let me tell you a story about a monk named Tashi. Tashi was known for his serene presence, a calm that seemed unshakable no matter the chaos around him. A young seeker once asked him, "Master, how do you remain so peaceful when the world is so loud, so full of distraction?" Tashi smiled and replied, "Imagine your mind as a lake. When the wind blows, waves rise and toss leaves and twigs upon the surface. But when the wind ceases, the lake becomes still and reflects the moon perfectly. I do not fight the wind, I wait for it to pass." One day, Tashi's village was struck by a violent storm. The trees bent, rivers swelled, and fear gripped many hearts. But Tashi remained calm, sitting by the lake. When the storm passed, the village saw their reflection clearly in the lake's glassy surface once again. This story gently reminds us of a profound truth. Our minds naturally respond to the turbulence of life. Just like a lake's surface stirred by a sudden gust of wind, our thoughts rise and fall, worries that crowd the edges of our awareness, fears that tug at our heart memories, that rise up unbidden like restless waves. These mental ripples can sometimes swell into storms, overwhelming the clarity and calm we long for. Yet beneath this surface disturbance lies a deep, unwavering stillness, an inner sanctuary patiently waiting for us to rediscover it. This stillness is not something we create or invent. It is our true nature, ever present beneath the ripples of passing thoughts. The Buddha, in his timeless wisdom, taught that mindfulness is the path to the deathless. He who is mindful does not wander in confusion. This teaching invites us to become the calm observer of our mind's fluctuations, rather than being swept away by them. Practicing mindfulness means watching the lake rather than the waves, cultivating a serene awareness that notices thoughts as they arise without chasing after them, pushing them away, or becoming entangled in their currents. It is an invitation to become a witness, a gentle, compassionate witness to the flow of experience. Let us pause now for a moment. If you feel comfortable, softly close your eyes. Bring your attention inward, drawing focus to your breath. Feel the coolness of air entering your nostrils, the subtle expansion of your chest and belly as you inhale. Notice the warmth of the breath as it leaves your body, carrying away tension and fatigue. Imagine the surface of your mind as a quiet lake, sometimes touched by gentle breezes that create light, ripples, sometimes calm and mirror-like, reflecting the moon's soft glow in perfect clarity. Thoughts may appear like ripples, small waves passing over the water's surface, but your awareness remains steady, unmoved beneath them, calmly watching without interference or judgment. What does it feel like to watch a thought arise and then naturally fade away? Perhaps it is a memory from your past, a brief worry about the uncertainties of tomorrow, or a fleeting emotion, joy, sadness, restlessness. Imagine these mental events as leaves floating lightly upon the surface of the lake. They come into view, drift along gently, and then disappear from sight, making room for whatever new leaves may arrive. There is no resistance, no grasping, simply an acceptance of the transient nature of experience. This seemingly simple practice of mindful observation holds tremendous power for cultivating inner peace. It builds a gentle space between you and the stormy fluctuations of your mind, creating freedom from anxiety and the restless need to control or suppress your thoughts. When we mistake our thoughts for reality, or let them dominate our attention, we lose sight of this stillness that is always present beneath. But by cultivating the ability to witness without attachment, we gradually loosen the grip of mental chatter and return to the spaciousness of our true nature. In your everyday life, you can practice becoming this calm lake. When a difficult or uncomfortable thought arises, a worry about the future, a harsh judgment of yourself, a painful memory, resist the urge to react immediately or become caught in its story. Instead, pause. Observe the thought with gentle curiosity and compassion. Ask yourself softly, is this thought true? Is it helpful? Can I let it pass like a cloud drifting across a wide sky? This moment of pause creates space for choice and freedom. It is not about denying or ignoring the thought, but about seeing it clearly and allowing it to move on without resistance. The human mind, when left unchecked, often becomes a tempest of judgments, fears, and repetitive stories. It can overwhelm us, cloud our perception, and steal our peace. Mindfulness is the practice that allows us to become the serene observer, the vast sky beneath the stormy clouds. This does not mean that thoughts will cease. They continue to arise like waves on the ocean, but their power to disturb us lessens. We learn to hold ourselves with kindness and witness our experience without becoming entangled. To deepen this practice, consider the following meditation you can do anytime you wish. Find a comfortable seated position, sitting tall yet relaxed. Close your eyes softly and take 3 deep, slow breaths, savoring each inhalation and exhalation. Bring your attention to the natural rhythm of your breath. Notice the subtle rising and falling of your abdomen, the coolness of the air entering the warmth, leaving your body. As thoughts arise, simply acknowledge them without judgment or engagement. Picture each thought as a ripple on your lake's surface. When you find yourself caught in a thought, perhaps replaying a worry or an emotion, gently return your focus to the breath. Practice this gentle witnessing daily for 5 to 10 minutes, allowing the stillness of your mind's lake to deepen gradually. With continued practice, you cultivate greater mental clarity and emotional balance. A beautiful insight emerges: you are not your thoughts. You are the spacious awareness in which thoughts arise and dissolve like clouds passing through the sky. This realization transforms your relationship with yourself and the world, bringing calmness where there was once turmoil, kindness where there was judgment, and freedom where there was entrapment. Over time, mindfulness changes how you respond to life's challenges. Instead of reacting impulsively or being overwhelmed by mental noise, you respond with calmness and compassion. This is the essence of the path, the heart of Buddhist mindfulness, leading to liberation from suffering. Pause now and reflect quietly. What might change in your life if you could observe your thoughts without being swept away by them? How would your relationships, your work, your sense of self transform if you held the space to witness without judgment? Hold this question gently within your awareness, knowing that the journey of mindfulness is a gradual unfolding, not a sudden arrival. Remember, stillness is always there beneath the waves. You only need to turn your attention inward and become the calm lake that witnesses them. As you prepare to continue, rest in this space of gentle awareness, inviting peace to settle softly within you. In our next exploration, we will discover how aligning your inner energy with the universe's natural flow brings harmony and abundance into your life, a beautiful complement to the calmness you are nurturing now. For now, let your mind rest in the stillness of its own vast lake, ready to greet the next ripple with quiet presence. As we journey further into the heart of Buddhist wisdom, we arrive at a profound understanding. The quality of your inner energy shapes the reality you experience. Imagine your spirit as a compass, subtle yet unfailingly true, quietly pointing you toward your authentic self. This compass is your inner energy, your vibration, the unseen dynamic force that sends ripples into the world and draws in the life that reflects your true nature. The universe, in its vastness and mystery, does not simply respond to the words you speak or the desires you hold. Instead, it listens deeply to the frequency you emit through your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs. This vibration acts like a beacon, signaling to the world what you are resonating with at your core. When your energy is calm, centered, and rooted in gratitude and trust, the world around you begins to echo these qualities, back in the form of harmonious relationships, meaningful opportunities, and moments of spontaneous joy. Yes, let us consider the story of May, a young woman living in a bustling city filled with noise and endless demands. For many years, May was caught in a cycle of striving and pushing, chasing success with frenetic energy. She felt disconnected from herself, exhausted by the constant pace and competition. One day, May encountered a teaching about the power of energy and vibration, how what you cultivate within naturally radiates outward and shapes your experience. Inspired, she began a simple but profound daily practice, sitting in quiet reflection each morning, cultivating feelings of gratitude for the small blessings around her, the warmth of sunlight, the smile of a stranger, the breath of life itself. Over time, May noticed a subtle transformation. Her outlook brightened, stress diminished, and she began to attract people who supported her dreams rather than competed with her. Unexpected opportunities arose, and situations that once felt stressful now flowed with ease and alignment. May's story illuminates a universal truth. When you align your inner energy with your highest values and deepest calm, the universe mirrors that energy, creating a life that feels more authentic and fulfilling. The Buddha succinctly encapsulated this profound teaching when he said, "What you think you become, what you feel you attract, what you imagine you create." This triad is the essence of energetic alignment. It reminds us that the work is not about controlling external circumstances or forcing outcomes, but about cultivating the qualities within ourselves: clarity, compassion, trust, that we wish to see reflected in the world. How then do we begin to align our energy with the universe's natural flow? The path is both simple and profound, inviting us to bring mindful attention to our inner state and to consciously cultivate qualities that resonate with peace and authenticity. Begin by creating small, intentional practices that ground you in gratitude each day. Before rising from bed, gently reflect on 3 things you are grateful for, perhaps the comfort of your breath, the love of a friend, or the beauty of the morning light. This simple practice shifts your focus from scarcity to abundance, tuning your energy to a frequency that attracts more of what nurtures your spirit. Throughout the day, cultivate awareness of your emotional landscape. When you notice feelings of fear, doubt, or anxiety arise, greet them with kindness rather than resistance. Bring your attention back to your breath and remind yourself that these feelings are transient waves on the surface of your being. With practice, you learn to steady your energy in the eye of the storm, allowing your true nature to shine through. Visualization can be a powerful tool in this process. Imagine your energy as a radiant light glowing from your heart center, expanding outward in gentle waves. See this light attracting experiences, people, and opportunities that align with your well-being and purpose. Feel the warmth of this connection to the universe, a subtle yet powerful assurance that you are supported and guided. As your energy aligns, you may find that challenges begin to soften and take on new meaning. Setbacks become invitations for growth, and obstacles transform into stepping stones on your path. This is the magic of resonance. When you hold steady in your authentic energy, you magnetize experiences that support your evolution and peace. Take a moment now to breathe deeply and imagine tuning your inner compass toward true north, the direction of your authentic self. Feel the gentle but unwavering pull of this alignment, guiding your choices, your relationships, and your purpose with clarity and grace. Allow this image to settle within you, anchoring your intention to live from this place of truth. This alignment is not a destination, but an ongoing practice. The universe's flow is ever-changing, and your energy must remain flexible yet grounded, open yet discerning. Like the bamboo that bends with the wind without breaking, you cultivate a vibration that welcomes life's changes while maintaining your core peace. This teaching also reminds us to be patient and compassionate with ourselves. There will be days when your energy feels scattered or heavy, when doubts cloud your clarity. These moments are part of the natural ebb and flow of life. Rather than judging yourself, return gently to your breath, your gratitude, and your vision. Each return strengthens your alignment and deepens your trust in the process. Remember that energy is contagious. The calm and centered energy you cultivate not only shapes your own experience, but radiates outward, touching those around you in subtle yet profound ways. By aligning your vibration with peace and authenticity, you become a source of light and inspiration in the world. Before we continue, I invite you to reflect on this question. What qualities do you wish to cultivate within yourself to better align with the life you desire? How might your daily actions and thoughts shift if you lived from this aligned energy? Hold this intention gently, knowing that each small step nourishes the connection between you and the vast, responsive universe. As we prepare to explore the next teaching, trusting the natural flow of life through the metaphor of the river, let this feeling of energetic alignment rest within you. Trust that as you nurture your inner compass, your path will become clearer, your journey lighter, and your heart more at peace. For now, breathe deeply and rest in the knowing that your energy is a powerful force shaping your experience and inviting the universe's abundance to flow effortlessly into your life. As our journey unfolds, let us now turn deeply to the timeless metaphor of the river, a living symbol of life's natural flow, the essence of patience, surrender, and trust. Picture a river meandering through landscapes, sometimes calm and gentle, sometimes rushing powerfully over rocks and through narrow valleys. The river never fights its course. It does not demand the path be easier or straighter. Instead, it flows with an innate wisdom, adapting to every bend, every obstacle, carrying life and nourishment along its journey. This river teaches us a vital lesson, that our lives, much like its waters, have rhythms and currents beyond our control. And true peace comes when we learn to trust this unfolding, rather than struggle against it. It is not resignation or passivity, but a dynamic living surrender to the present moment, to the flow of existence itself. Let me share the story of Ananda, a young farmer living in a remote village surrounded by mountains and fertile valleys. Ananda was diligent, hard-working, and determined to secure a prosperous harvest for his family. Yet year after year, he found himself consumed by worry. Fear of drought storms and poor yields haunted his nights. He labored from dawn to dusk, trying to control every detail of planting and watering, wishing for certainty and stability. One summer during the peak of planting season, a wandering sage arrived at Ananda's village. The sage was serene and gentle, with eyes that seemed to hold the quiet wisdom of rivers and forests. Observing Ananda's tense demeanor, the sage sat beside him by a small stream and said, "Tell me, young friend, does the river fight to reach the ocean, or does it flow naturally along its path?" Ananda pondered the question, then replied, "The river flows naturally, never forcing itself. It bends, it moves with patience, and it always reaches its destination." The sage smiled warmly. "Just so. Your life is like the river. When you fight every turn and try to control each wave, you exhaust yourself and lose sight of the beauty and grace in your journey. When you learn to flow with patience and trust, you find peace and abundance that no amount of struggle can create." These words settled deep within Ananda's heart. He began to soften his grip, not ceasing his work, but releasing the anxiety that had plagued him. He planted with care, tended his fields mindfully, and trusted that whatever the season brought, he would meet it with courage and grace. As months passed, Ananda noticed something remarkable. Despite some storms and challenges, his fields thrived in unexpected ways. His harvest was abundant, and his heart felt lighter. Through surrender to the flow of life, he discovered a wellspring of peace and joy that had been obscured by his earlier fear. This story of Ananda reminds us of the profound wisdom in trusting life's natural rhythm. The river's journey is not one of resistance, but of graceful adaptation, embracing change, flowing around obstacles, and moving steadily toward its destiny. Trusting the flow means releasing the illusion of control and opening to the mystery of life's unfolding. The Buddha's teachings echo this truth. Just as the river flows tirelessly to the sea, so should one flow with the currents of life, embracing change with courage and grace. When you align yourself with this natural rhythm, you open to deeper peace, resilience, and fulfillment. How might your life transform if you could relinquish the need to control every twist and turn? Can you imagine moving forward with steady confidence, even amidst uncertainty? Trusting the river's flow is about cultivating this patient, mindful faith, not as passive waiting, but as active participation with openness to what arises. Begin this practice by turning your attention to your breath, the constant, steady current flowing within you. Notice how your breath moves in and out, regardless of the thoughts or emotions that rise. Allow yourself to rest in this flow, reminding yourself that just as the river's waters change, so do your experiences, and yet the river remains itself. Throughout your day, when resistance arises, when you wish things were different, when you push against discomfort or uncertainty, pause, take a deep breath, recall the river's way flowing patiently around obstacles, bending with the landscape, trusting the unseen path ahead. You may find it helpful to carry this river imagery with you as a calming mantra or meditation. Visualize the river's steady waters winding through forests and mountains, moving with grace despite challenges. Feel yourself embodying this flow, resilient, flexible, and open-hearted. In moments of fear or impatience, remember Ananda's story. Trust that you are being carried by currents greater than your worries or plans. Through surrender, you release the weight of resistance and make space for abundance and joy. Before we proceed, take a quiet moment to reflect. What parts of your life are you holding on to, tightly creating tension and struggle? What would it feel like to release that tension and flow with life's natural current? How might patience and trust soften your experience of challenge? Our next section will explore the wisdom of being empty, like bamboo, strong, like the wind. A teaching about flexibility, resilience, and strength found in openness and surrender. For now, rest in the rhythm of the river's flow, allowing your spirit to move with grace, courage, and faith. As our journey continues, we pause now to delve into one of Buddhism's most beautiful and enduring metaphors, the bamboo. This humble plant, often overlooked in its quiet grace, embodies a profound teaching about true strength, resilience, and the wisdom of emptiness. Picture a dense grove of bamboo swaying in the breeze. When the wind blows fiercely through the forest, the bamboo bends and dances with the gusts. It never breaks or resists with stubborn rigidity. Instead, it yields to the forces around it, surrendering without losing its essence. Its strength is found not in hardness, but in its openness, its flexibility, and its capacity to bend without breaking. The bamboo teaches us that real power in life arises from being open and adaptable, not from clinging tightly to fixed forms or resisting change. In our human experience, this translates to cultivating a spirit of emptiness, not emptiness as a void or lack, but emptiness as spaciousness and readiness to receive whatever life offers. It is the courage to release old patterns, rigid beliefs and attachments that no longer serve us, making room for growth, transformation, and healing. Let me share with you the story of Kaido, a humble craftsman who lived in a small mountain village surrounded by expansive bamboo forests. Kaido was known for his kindness, patience, and gentle wisdom. But like many of us, he faced seasons of hardship, illness in his family, unexpected loss, and times when his livelihood was uncertain. Instead of fighting these challenges with frustration or despair, Kaido looked deeply to the bamboo around him for guidance. He observed how the bamboo survived through storms, droughts, and harsh winters, not by standing stiff and unyielding, but by bending gracefully with the wind, allowing it to pass through without breaking. Inspired by this simple but profound example, Kaido began practicing what he called the art of emptiness. When difficulties arose, instead of resisting or trying to control every outcome, he allowed himself to surrender, to soften, and to open his heart fully to the present moment. He embraced impermanence and uncertainty as natural parts of life's rhythm. Through this practice, Kaido discovered a wellspring of inner strength, a calm, grounded presence that was both gentle and unshakable. This story is a living testament to a crucial Buddhist teaching. The Buddha said in the Dhammapada, yielding is the way to the unyielding. This paradox highlights that true strength is found not in hardness or inflexibility, but in the willingness to be open to yield and to adapt without losing one's center. Rigidity may seem strong, but it is brittle. Openness, though soft, endures. In our lives, how often do we hold tightly to identities, opinions, plans, or past wounds? How often do we resist change because it threatens our sense of security? This clinging creates tension, suffering, and fracture, much like a stiff tree snapping in a strong storm. Yet the bamboo teaches us that surrender and openness are not signs of weakness. They are the foundation of resilience and wisdom. Emptiness in this context does not mean emptiness of spirit or absence of meaning. Rather, it is spaciousness, the ability to hold experiences without clinging to release preconceived notions and to create room for new possibilities. It is a readiness to receive life as it is moment by moment with curiosity and kindness. To embody this teaching, begin by bringing awareness to areas in your life where you feel rigid, resistant, or stuck. These may be old habits, expectations, or judgments that weigh heavily on you. Gently invite yourself to soften your hold on these patterns. Visualize yourself as a bamboo stalk standing tall and rooted yet flexible and open to the breeze. In your meditation practice, you might silently repeat an affirmation such as, "I am open like bamboo. I bend with life's winds without breaking." Let this phrase guide your heart towards spaciousness and surrender. Throughout your daily life, when you encounter difficulties or uncertainty, pause and breathe deeply. Instead of reacting with tension or frustration, ask yourself, how can I bend without breaking? Where can I open space for growth and understanding? This mindful question becomes a pathway from rigidity to resilience. Reflect on this now. What would it feel like to be empty like bamboo in your relationships, your work, or your inner dialogue? How might this openness transform your capacity to face life's storms with grace? This teaching also reminds us that true resilience is a balance of strength and softness. The bamboo stands strong because it is hollow inside. Its emptiness allows it to sway without snapping. In your own life, cultivating emptiness means letting go of unnecessary burdens, releasing fears that constrict you, and embracing vulnerability as a source of power. As you continue to practice this wisdom, you may notice a profound shift, a deepening sense of peace that comes from knowing you do not have to control everything, that life's winds will carry you safely if you remain open and grounded. Before we move forward, carry this teaching gently in your heart. Allow the image of the bamboo, tall, flexible, empty, yet strong, to inspire you in the days ahead. In our next section, we will explore the transformative power of silence, a force that speaks louder than words and holds the gateway to profound inner wisdom. For now, rest in the gentle strength of the bamboo's lesson. feeling your own heart bend with grace, yet remain unbroken. As we continue our journey into the depths of Buddhist wisdom, we now pause to reflect on one of the most powerful, yet often overlooked forces in our lives: silence. In a world saturated with constant noise, endless chatter, the hum of devices, the clatter of busy streets, silence can feel foreign or even uncomfortable. Yet paradoxically, silence holds within it a profound presence and power far greater than any sound or word. It is the fertile ground from which clarity, peace, and profound insight emerge. Silence is not emptiness. It is the language of the soul, the quiet voice of wisdom that speaks louder than noise ever could. Picture yourself in a vast ancient forest, far from the city's distractions. The cacophony of human-made sounds fades away, replaced by the soft rustle of leaves as a gentle breeze passes the distant trill of a bird and the subtle heartbeat of the earth itself. This natural silence is not barren. It is alive with possibility, with connection with life itself. Just as this silence permeates the forest, so too does silence reside deep within you, an ever-present sanctuary waiting to be discovered and embraced. Allow me to share the story of Mei Ling, a young scholar who, despite her brilliant mind, found herself overwhelmed by the pressures of study, social expectations, and her own restless thoughts. Her mind was a swirling storm of worries and doubts, leaving her exhausted and fragmented. One day, a wise teacher invited Mei Ling to sit in complete silence for an entire hour. At first, the silence felt unbearable. Her restless mind clamored for distraction. Thoughts surged like waves, memories rose, anxieties whispered. Yet as she sat with courage and patience, the storm gradually softened. She became aware of the soft rhythm of her heartbeat, the gentle ebb and flow of her breath, and the quiet sensations of her body resting on the chair. In that silence, a deep calm emerged, a wellspring of peace she had never experienced before. This encounter opened Mei Ling's eyes to the transformative power of silence. She realized silence was not a void or absence, but a sacred space where the mind could rest, where the spirit could listen and hear the whispers of truth. In silence, she touched a place beyond thought, a silent intelligence, the quiet voice of her true self, and the gentle guidance of the universe. The Buddha beautifully taught that, in the stillness of silence, the mind finds its way home. Silence is not emptiness, but fullness, the fullness of presence, awareness, and being without distraction. It allows us to step back from the relentless noise of the world and the ceaseless chatter of our own minds. In the space of silence, there is room for healing insight and profound peace to arise. Yet in our modern, fast-paced lives, silence is often feared or avoided. Many of us fill every quiet moment with music, television, social media, or conversation, seeking to escape the discomfort that can arise when stillness reveals hidden emotions or thoughts. Without silence, our minds remain restless, overwhelmed, fragmented, and distracted from the deep truths within us. To welcome silence into your life, begin by intentionally creating small pockets of quiet throughout your day. Perhaps it is a few moments just after waking before the day's distractions begin. Maybe it is a silent walk in nature, allowing your senses to attune to the subtle sounds and stillness around you. Or simply sitting quietly before a meal, savoring the moment without the intrusion of technology or conversation. Allow yourself to be fully present with this stillness, noticing the sensations in your body, the sounds that arise, and your breath without labeling or judgment. During meditation, when thoughts inevitably arise, as they always do not chase after them or push them away. Instead, gently return your awareness to the silence between thoughts, the spaciousness behind the mental noise. Like a calm pond whose surface is no longer disturbed by ripples, This silence reveals clarity, depth, and peace. It is the fertile soil in which wisdom grows. Silence is not only a personal refuge, but also a powerful form of communication in our relationships. Sometimes saying nothing conveys more compassion, presence, and understanding than any words could express. Learning to sit comfortably in shared silence deepens connection and allows healing to unfold in ways language cannot reach. Pause for a moment now and reflect. How does silence feel to you? Is it welcoming or uncomfortable? Where in your daily life might you invite more quiet? What fears or resistance arise when you imagine sitting with silence truly alone with yourself? As you cultivate this practice, notice how silence transforms from a feared emptiness into a sanctuary, a sacred space where your mind rests, your heart opens, and your deepest wisdom speaks in its gentle, profound way. This inner silence empowers you to meet life's challenges with calmness, clarity, and compassion. Remember that silence is a wellspring of creativity and insight. Many of the Buddha's most profound teachings arose from silent meditation. In silence, we are not separate from life, but deeply connected with its essence. The gentle quiet offers a mirror reflecting the truth of who you are, beyond roles, stories, and thoughts. You may find it helpful to begin or end your day with a few minutes of silent sitting, simply observing your breath and opening to the stillness within. Over time, this practice can soften the noise of daily life, bringing a spaciousness to your mind and heart that sustains you even amidst chaos. As you continue to reflect quietly on this question, what might you discover about yourself in the depths of silence? How could embracing silence more fully shift your experience of stress, fear, or confusion? Our next section will invite you to explore the healing power of the inner mirror, how transforming your inner reflections shapes the reality you experience. For now, rest deeply in the presence of silence, letting it nourish and renew you like a gentle, life-giving rain. Allow your breath to slow. Feel the stillness that surrounds and fills you. Let the silence speak its quiet wisdom to your soul. As we continue our inward journey, we come to one of the most profound and transformative teachings in Buddhist practice, healing the inner mirror. The mind, according to Buddhist wisdom, can be likened to a mirror, a surface meant to reflect reality clearly and accurately. However, this mirror is often clouded, smeared, or cracked by the residue of past experiences, painful emotions, judgments, and conditioned beliefs. When this mirror is distorted, our perception of ourselves and the world becomes unclear, leading to suffering, confusion, and misdirected actions. Healing this inner mirror is essential to restoring clarity, compassion, and true insight into the nature of reality. Imagine standing before an ancient mirror that has gathered dust and grime over many years. Its surface no longer reflects your image clearly. Instead, it offers a blurred and fragmented view. You might see shadows and vague shapes, but not the full, true picture. This mirror represents the conditioned mind weighed down by fears, resentments, self-criticism, and unhealed wounds. Just as a mirror needs careful cleaning to regain its clarity, our inner mirror requires gentle, patient tending to remove these layers of distortion and reveal the luminous essence beneath. Let me share the story of Sona, a monk who, despite his later reputation for radiant compassion and serene wisdom, once struggled deeply with his own inner turmoil. In his youth, Sona was consumed by resentment toward those who had wronged him and plagued by self-doubt that clouded his confidence and clarity. Recognizing his suffering, his teacher offered simple yet powerful guidance. Look within as if you are cleaning a mirror. Notice what is clear and what is smeared. Wipe the surface with patience and kindness without rushing or forcing. Sona took these words to heart. Each day, he sat in meditation and examined his inner world with mindful awareness, observing difficult emotions and thoughts as reflections in his mirror. He did not push them away or judge himself harshly for having them. Instead, he met them with gentle compassion, like a caregiver tending to a fragile yet precious object. Slowly, over time, the layers of confusion, anger, and pain began to lift. The smudges faded, the cracks softened, and the mirror grew steadily clearer, allowing Sona to see himself and others with a new depth of understanding and unconditional love. This process of healing the inner mirror is not about perfection or denying the realities of suffering. Rather, it is about embracing the fullness of our human experience with an open heart and an attentive mind. We learn to hold even our darkest feelings in the light of awareness and kindness, understanding that these emotions are transient waves on the surface of our deeper true nature. The Buddha taught you yourself as much as anybody in the entire universe deserve your love and affection. This radical statement reminds us that healing begins with self-compassion. Only by loving ourselves fully, including our imperfections and pain, can we begin to clear the fog that distorts our inner mirror. To begin this practice, start by noticing your self-talk throughout the day. Are there harsh judgments, critical voices, or recurring negative stories that cloud your self-perception? Instead of engaging or reinforcing them, gently observe these voices as passing reflections. Imagine yourself holding a soft cloth and carefully wiping away the dust that obscures your mirror. You might also find it helpful to dedicate a few moments each day to a loving kindness meditation, silently offering phrases such as, "May I be peaceful. May I be free from suffering. May I see myself with kindness." Extend this practice eventually to others, recognizing that the clarity you cultivate within helps you relate to the world with greater empathy and patience. Another powerful way to heal the inner mirror is through forgiveness, not only toward others, but also toward yourself. Understand that the cracks and smudges you see in your mirror are part of your human journey, not your true essence. Forgiveness allows these imperfections to soften, paving the way for renewed clarity and freedom. In your meditation practice, you might try this exercise. Bring to mind a difficult situation or relationship that causes pain. Rather than avoiding or pushing it away, hold it gently in your awareness, observing the emotions it stirs without judgment. Breathe into the discomfort with compassion, imagining your breath as a cleansing light that gradually clears the reflections, revealing the truth beneath. As you work to heal your inner mirror, notice how your perception of yourself and others begins to shift. You may find that old resentments lose their grip, self-criticism softens, and you can see both your flaws and your beauty with equal acceptance. This clarity radiates outward, transforming your relationships and interactions. You respond not from reactivity, but from presence and understanding. Pause for a moment now and ask yourself, which parts of my inner mirror feel clouded or cracked? Where might I begin to gently cleanse and heal these reflections? How would it change my life to see myself and others with greater kindness and clarity? Remember, healing. The inner mirror is a gradual process, a lifelong practice of mindful awareness, self-compassion, and forgiveness. Like restoring an old mirror, it takes patience and gentle care. Yet the rewards are immeasurable: a mind at peace, a heart open to love, and a life lived in alignment with truth. Before we move on, rest in the growing light of your healing mirror. Let compassion shine through every reflection, illuminating your path forward. Our next section invites us to contemplate patience and growth through the metaphor of waiting for the lotus to bloom, a lesson in trusting life's natural timing and honoring our own unfolding. For now, breathe deeply and cherish the clarity and kindness blossoming within you. In this part of our journey, we pause to reflect on one of the most cherished and enlightening symbols in all of Buddhism, the lotus flower. More than just a beautiful blossom, the lotus is a living metaphor for human transformation, for the slow, sacred process of awakening. Its growth from the thickest mud to the surface of the water, and finally into the sun-drenched air, reminds us that true change does not happen overnight. It unfolds slowly, silently, and often invisibly. It reminds us of the deep importance of patience and trust in our personal evolution. The lotus begins its life beneath the surface of still, murky waters. There is no light there, only darkness, mud, and silence. It pushes its way upward through layers of sediment, unseen and unknown to the world above. For a long time, it remains hidden, growing in the shadows, finding its way without any fanfare or recognition. But eventually, and always in its own time, the lotus breaks through the surface, and when it does, it opens slowly, deliberately, one petal at a time, into full luminous bloom. This natural rhythm of the lotus carries a powerful lesson. All meaningful growth begins in darkness. Our challenges, emotional wounds, and inner confusions are not signs that we are failing. They are part of the soil that nourishes our blooming. Every painful experience, every setback or sorrow, becomes the mud from which beauty is born. Let me tell you the story of Anjali, a young woman whose spirit burned with a longing for change. She wanted peace. She wanted purpose. She yearned to feel whole and confident in her life. But she often felt stuck, like she was spinning her wheels in mud, making no progress. She read every book she could find, attended retreats, and followed advice from teachers. Still, she found herself frustrated by how little her life seemed to shift. At one retreat, an elderly monk noticed her growing tension. He handed her a small lotus seed and said, "Plant this in your heart. Water it with patience. Do not scratch at the soil. Do not demand it bloom tomorrow. The lotus grows in its own time, and so will you." Anjali took these words to heart. Instead of pushing and forcing, she began to simply sit in stillness each morning. She didn't demand enlightenment. She didn't judge herself for not feeling better yet. She just showed up calm, consistent, and gentle with herself. Weeks turned into months, and over time something subtle began to change. Her breath deepened. Her reactions softened. And one day she realized she no longer hated the mud. She had made peace with it. This is the truth we so often forget. In our impatient world, the mud is not the problem, it's the prerequisite. Without the mud, there is no lotus. Without challenge, there is no growth. Without stillness, there is no understanding. The Buddha knew this deeply and taught endurance is one of the most difficult disciplines, but it is to the one who endures that the final victory comes. So how do we live with this kind of patience in our modern lives? Begin by remembering that growth is often invisible. You may feel like nothing is happening, that your efforts are in vain, but something is always taking root beneath the surface. Trust the process. Nurture your heart with kindness. Stay committed to your path, even when it feels slow or uncertain. You might try this meditation practice. Close your eyes and imagine a lotus seed resting in the mud. Visualize it drawing nourishment from the rich darkness. Watch it stretch upward slowly, silently, without struggle. Then see it breaking through the surface of the water, still closed, still waiting. And finally, as it greets the morning sun, it opens one petal at a time. Let this image remind you of your own unfolding. Practice speaking to yourself gently. When you are impatient or disappointed, whisper inwardly, "I am growing, even if I cannot see it yet. I trust in the timing of my life." These small phrases can become anchors of faith when doubt and frustration arise. The lotus also teaches us that we do not need to be fully bloomed to be beautiful. Even in its early stages, even half-opened, the lotus is a miracle. So are you. You are not incomplete just because you're still growing. You are not behind. You are not lost. You are on the path, your own unique path, and that is enough. Reflect for a moment now. Where in your life are you trying to rush your blooming? Where are you judging your progress too harshly? Can you soften into patience? Can you honor the muddy, murky, quiet spaces of your life as sacred ground? We live in a culture that values speed, productivity, and instant results. But the most meaningful changes, the softening of the heart, the opening of awareness, the deep healing of old wounds take time. They require stillness, surrender, and faith in the process. Just like the lotus, we must allow ourselves the time and space to rise slowly. As you carry the wisdom of the lotus with you, let it remind you to cherish the journey, not just the destination. Celebrate each tiny root, each small stretch upward, each breath you take in faith. Your bloom is coming, not because you force it, but because it is the nature of the lotus to rise. Our next section will explore the beauty of flowing action, how we can move through life with a sense of grace, letting our actions emerge from calm rather than chaos. For now, breathe in deeply. Trust your roots. Trust your rise. You are the lotus, and you are blooming. As we leave behind the still waters of the lotus pond, we now enter the flowing streams of action. In Buddhism, action is not about force or control. It is about harmony. It is about moving through life with the grace of a stream flowing over rocks, not trying to change the landscape by sheer will, but adapting, responding, and continuing forward with calm persistence. We'll explore the art of wu-wei, non-forcing action, a concept woven deeply into Buddhist and Taoist philosophy. Imagine a stream winding its way down a mountain. It does not argue with the rocks. It does not try to force the earth to move. It simply flows around every obstacle, soft yet unstoppable. The stream does not stop moving, but it also does not struggle. It continues its path with quiet certainty, eroding even the hardest stones, not through pressure, but through patience. This is how wise action flows from inner stillness. It's not the hurried, anxious movement that so many of us are used to, checking tasks off lists, responding to every demand, constantly pushing to achieve. Instead, it's movement rooted in awareness. Action that arises only after we have paused, listened, and allowed clarity to surface. Let me tell you the story of Hiroshi, a once ambitious man who had spent decades building his business empire. He prided himself on his ability to outwork anyone to solve every problem with effort and intensity. But when he reached the age of retirement, he found himself utterly exhausted, spiritually empty, and plagued with regret. All those years of grinding had left him disconnected from his family, from nature, even from himself. Seeking peace, Hiroshi turned to a Zen teacher who gave him a seemingly strange instruction. Go to the river every morning. Watch how it moves. Do not act, just observe. For weeks, Hiroshi did just that. At first, he grew restless. He wanted solutions, results. But slowly, something inside him began to soften. He noticed the quiet beauty of the water bending around stones. He saw how the river didn't panic when it met an obstacle. It simply shifted, adapted, continued. And in that observation, Hiroshi began to understand something deeper. All his past actions had come from tension and fear, not clarity. He realized that movement doesn't require force, it requires wisdom. From then on, Hiroshi began to live differently. When a problem arose, he didn't react instantly. He sat with it, breathed, waited. And when the right action became clear, he moved not with aggression, but with grace. His relationships began to heal, his health improved, and most of all, he found joy in living simply, attentively, and without struggle. This is the essence of flowing action. In Buddhism, the Noble Eightfold Path speaks of right actions guided by mindfulness, compassion, and non-harming. These actions do not emerge from impulse or pressure, but from deep listening. Right action flows with life, not against it. You may ask, how do I know when an action is right? The answer lies in your state of being. If you feel tight, anxious, or desperate, pause. These are signs of forced action. But if your heart is calm, your breath steady, and your intent clear and kind, the action is likely in alignment. Try this simple practice the next time you're faced with a decision. Sit quietly. Place one hand over your heart. Breathe slowly. Ask yourself, am I acting out of fear or clarity? Am I reacting or responding? Wait for the answer to arise not from your thoughts, but from your body's wisdom. When the right path becomes clear, move gently without rushing. Let it flow. There is also a deeper freedom in this approach. When we stop believing that we must control every outcome, we create space for life to meet us halfway. Like water, we learn to collaborate with reality rather than fight it. And often this leads to better outcomes than anything we could have planned. Consider the powerful words of Lao Tzu, often quoted in Zen contexts. Do you have the patience to wait until your mud settles and the water is clear? Can you remain unmoving until the right action arises by itself? This is the way of water, the way of the Tao, and it mirrors perfectly the Buddhist way of mindful living. In your everyday life, begin noticing when you are pushing too hard. When you feel like you're swimming upstream, ask yourself, is this necessary? Is there a gentler way? Sometimes it's better to pause, wait for the waters to clear, and let action arise naturally, like the current choosing its own path. This doesn't mean you become passive or indifferent. Quite the opposite. It means your actions become powerful because they come from presence. You do less, but each thing you do has more impact, more harmony, more meaning. Let us reflect what areas of your life feel forced or rushed right now. Where can you allow more softness, more flow, more trust in the unfolding? Can you find the courage to pause, to listen, and to act only when the time is right? The stream never doubts itself. It never asks, am I enough? It flows. You too are capable of that grace. You were born to move with life, not against it. Let your steps arise from peace, not panic, from truth, not pressure. As we transition into the next section, we will explore the healing power of loving presence, how being fully there for yourself and others is perhaps the most transformative action of all. But for now, breathe in slowly. Let your exhale release the urge to force. Trust in the wisdom of water. And remember, you don't have to push the river. It knows where it's going. At the core of every human being is a simple and sacred longing to be seen, to be heard, and to be held in love. This longing does not come from ego or selfishness. It comes from the very essence of life itself. We long to be met not with answers or solutions, but with presence. Pure, unwavering presence. And when that presence is infused with compassion, it becomes one of the most powerful healing forces on earth. Now we explore the profound practice of loving presence, not as a theory, but as a lived, moment-to-moment way of being that transforms how we relate to ourselves, others, and the world. In Buddhist tradition, presence is not merely paying attention. It is mindful awareness steeped in compassion. It's the kind of attention that holds rather than judges, that nurtures rather than fixes. It is the silent companionship of a heart that refuses to abandon itself or others, even in the face of discomfort. There's a Zen saying, "When walking, walk. When eating, eat." But perhaps we could add, "When hurting, stay." This is what loving presence means, staying. Not running away from pain, not rushing to get better, but remaining by your side like a faithful friend. This commitment to simply being with what is with care without flinching is radical in a world obsessed with achievement and avoidance. Let me tell you the story of Tui, a woman burdened with sorrow she had carried for years. After the loss of her partner, she had built a life full of busyness, career achievements, community work, constant motion. On the outside, she seemed composed, accomplished, but inside there was a void she never touched. She had become a stranger to herself, afraid that if she stopped even for a moment, the silence would consume her. At a retreat, she was invited into a meditation called the inner holding. The teacher instructed them to imagine sitting beside a younger version of themselves at the age when a particular wound or trauma had occurred. "Don't fix her," the teacher said. "Don't teach her. Just sit beside her. Let her feel you there." As Tui closed her eyes and pictured her younger self, tears began to fall. She saw the girl she had long ignored weeping quietly in the dark. She sat beside her in her mind's eye, saying nothing, just being there. And in that wordless moment, something within her softened. She realized that healing doesn't begin with advice. It begins with presence. With letting the part of ourselves we've exiled know I'm here. I haven't left you. I never will. This is the power of loving presence. It is not about changing what is. It is about being with what is so tenderly that change becomes possible. Like sunlight on a frozen field, presence does not push or pull, it simply warms, and in that warmth, ice begins to melt. The Buddha often spoke of metta, or loving kindness, as an inner attitude that can be cultivated toward all beings, including ourselves. He encouraged his disciples to radiate this loving kindness in all directions, starting from the heart and extending outward. But many practitioners forget that we must first learn to offer it to ourselves. Here's a practice you can try. Find a quiet place to sit. Place your hand over your heart and close your eyes. Breathe gently. Now silently repeat phrases like, "May I be safe. May I be held in compassion. May I meet this moment with kindness." If it feels strange or awkward, that's okay. Keep going. Let the words slowly sink beneath the surface. Let them nourish the parts of you that have felt alone, unwanted, or unseen. You may feel resistance. The mind may whisper, "I don't deserve this," or "This won't help." When that happens, meet those thoughts not with argument, but with even deeper presence. Say to them, "I see you too." Presence does not choose favorites, it includes everything. And just as we offer presence inwardly, we can begin offering it outwardly, to our loved ones, to strangers, even to those we struggle to forgive. Often people do not need us to speak or solve, they simply need us to be there, really there. Not distracted, not rehearsing our next sentence, just present. Sit with someone in silence. Look into their eyes with an open heart. Let your whole body say, "You matter. I'm with you." This is a gift more precious than gold, and it costs nothing but your attention. Presence is also the antidote to loneliness. So many of us feel isolated, not because we are physically alone, but because we are not truly present even to ourselves. We distract, we numb, we scroll, we escape. But when we pause, return to our breath, and say, "I'm here," a bridge begins to form within. And through that bridge, love flows in. This is the secret to deep spiritual practice. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be present. The cracked parts, the weary parts, the afraid parts, they don't need fixing. They need you. They need your loving presence. And when we offer that to ourselves consistently, a miracle begins to unfold. The mind softens, the body relaxes, the heart reopens. We begin to trust again, not in outcomes or plans, but in being, in this breath, in this moment. Pause now, dear listener. Place both hands on your chest. Feel the steady rhythm of your heartbeat. Say gently, "I am here. I am whole. I am worthy of love." Let this be your anchor in all the storms to come. As we move into the next section on letting go and embracing impermanence, carry with you the warmth of this moment. No matter what life brings, loving presence will always be enough. For now, rest. You are safe. You are held. You are deeply, deeply loved. We live in a world of movement, a world where nothing stays the same, not even for a moment. The clouds in the sky shift shape and drift away. The seasons come and go, each one whispering that nothing lasts forever. Our bodies age, our thoughts change, our emotions rise and fall like the tide. And yet, despite the undeniable truth that everything is impermanent, we often resist this natural law. We cling, we grasp, we hold tight to people, moments, identities, and dreams, longing to make something last in a world that is constantly letting go. But what if instead of clinging, we could learn to dance with impermanence? This is the heart of the Buddha's teaching, anicca, the Pali word for impermanence. It is one of the three marks of existence, along with dukkha, suffering, and anatta, non-self. The Buddha taught that understanding impermanence is essential to finding peace, because it shows us the futility of attachment and the freedom that comes from release. Let me share a story. There was once a renowned Buddhist monk named Ajahn Rumma who carried with him a fragile porcelain cup. Whenever a visitor admired it, he would smile gently and say, "This cup is already broken." The guests were confused. "But it's not broken," they would say. Ajahn Rumma would explain, "I use this cup every day. I drink tea from it, I enjoy it. But I know that one day it will fall from my hand or the shelf and shatter. So I don't cling to it. I appreciate it fully in each moment, knowing it will not last." This simple story teaches us a profound lesson. When we accept the impermanence of things, we stop taking them for granted. We begin to appreciate them more deeply, love more fully, and live more presently. We suffer not because things change, but because we expect them not to. We cling to youth, even as our bodies age. We hold on to relationships even when they've run their course. We grasp at happiness, trying to make it permanent. And when the inevitable change comes, as it always does, we feel devastated. But the devastation comes not from the change itself, but from our resistance to it. Imagine holding a fistful of sand. The tighter you squeeze, the more it slips through your fingers. But if you hold your hand open, the sand stays. It's the same with life. The more tightly we try to hold on, the more we lose. But when we open, when we soften, we make space for life to pass through us and leave behind peace instead of pain. This doesn't mean that we shouldn't love, dream, or commit. On the contrary, it means we should do so with eyes wide open and hearts unguarded. Love someone knowing they are a changing, evolving being. Cherish moments knowing they will pass. Engage in life not to possess it, but to experience it fully. Try this reflection now. Close your eyes. Think of something or someone you are afraid to lose. Feel the fear, the tension. Now imagine gently loosening your grip, not pushing them away, but simply allowing them to be free. Imagine saying, "I love you, and I let you be." What shifts in your body, in your breath, in your heart? There is a quote attributed to the Buddha: "Everything that has a beginning has an ending. Make your peace with that, and all will be well." This isn't a call to despair, it's a call to awaken. When we stop fighting the flow of life, we start to live in harmony with it. We begin to see the beauty in every fleeting moment because we know it cannot last, and that's what makes it precious. Thich Nhat Hanh often taught that impermanence is not something to fear, but something to celebrate. Without impermanence, nothing would be possible. The child could never grow. The flower would never bloom. The pain would never pass. The new day would never come. It is because things change that hope is possible. He once wrote, "Thanks to impermanence, everything is possible." Let that truth sink in. It means that even your sorrow will fade. Your confusion will pass. Your loneliness is not eternal. And neither is your joy, your success, your pride. Everything is in motion. This moment is not a prison, it's a wave, and it is already becoming something else. So how do we live with this wisdom? We begin by practicing the art of conscious release. In your daily life, notice the small moments of letting go. The breath you release, the sun setting outside your window, the goodbye at the end of a phone call. These tiny farewells are training grounds for the bigger ones. Goodbyes to relationships, roles, identities, and eventually to life itself. When you wash the dishes, feel the warm water. Know that this moment will not return. When you eat a meal, taste each bite with reverence. When you look into the eyes of someone you love, let your gaze linger, knowing you may never see them in quite the same way again. This awareness doesn't bring sadness, it brings presence. And from presence, love flows more freely, gratitude deepens, and suffering softens. There's a practice in the Thai forest tradition where monks meditate on corpses, not out of morbidity, but as a reminder of impermanence. It sounds extreme, but its purpose is clear: to awaken a deeper appreciation for life, to let go of vanity, and to live each day as if it matters. Because it does. You don't have to meditate in a graveyard. Just sit with your own breath, feel its rise and fall. Notice how each one is born, lives for a moment, and dies only to be followed by the next. This is the rhythm of life itself. Inhale arrival, exhale release. As we move toward the next section, finding stillness in chaos, carry this truth in your heart. Nothing you love will last forever, and that is what makes it sacred. Let yourself grieve, let yourself rejoice, and most of all, let yourself live. Because you too are impermanent. But in your brief and beautiful existence, you have the power to awaken, to love, to release, to bloom. Even amidst the noise of the world, there exists a still point, a center of calm deep within you that remains untouched by the turmoil around you. This stillness is not something you create. It is something you return to. It is your natural state. It is the space from which peace flows, the silence underneath the sounds, the clarity beneath confusion. The question is not whether stillness exists, but whether you remember how to touch it. Life, in its unpredictability, often feels chaotic. Our days can be consumed by schedules, by obligations, by the incessant buzz of technology, and the inner static of our own thoughts. And when chaos arises, an argument, a sudden loss, a global crisis, it can feel like our very ground has been shaken. But stillness is not the absence of motion. It is the presence of awareness. It's the ability to stay anchored while everything else moves. There is a famous story of a Zen master who was once asked, "How do you remain so calm in the face of hardship?" He replied, "Because I do not confuse the waves with the ocean." On the surface, there may be wind waves, storms, but beneath that, the ocean is vast and unmoved. So too is your mind. So too is your true self. No matter how loud the world becomes, there is always a silent depth within you that cannot be disturbed. Cultivating stillness does not mean escaping from life or becoming indifferent. It means learning how to respond rather than react. Reactions are immediate, often emotionally driven and born from a place of fear or habit. But responses come from a place of clarity. When we respond, we take a breath, we ground ourselves, we choose with intention. And this choice, this pause is where stillness lives. One of the most profound ways to reconnect with this stillness is through conscious breathing. The breath is always with you. It does not judge, it does not rush, it simply flows. And when you bring your attention to your breath, even for just a few moments, you are reminded of the present. You are reminded of your anchor. Breathe in slowly through your nose. Let the air fill your belly, your ribs, your chest. Pause gently at the top, then exhale softly through your mouth. Feel the warmth of the breath as it leaves your body. As you continue this rhythm, notice how the world begins to slow down. Your thoughts may continue, but you are no longer inside them. You are watching from a gentle distance. Stillness does not require the mind to be empty. Thoughts will come as they always do, but stillness teaches you not to chase them. You don't have to believe every thought. You don't have to fix or judge or analyze. Let them rise and fall like waves on the ocean while you remain grounded in the deep, quiet awareness beneath. The Buddha offered a powerful image when he said, "Just as a solid rock is not shaken by the storm, even so the wise are not moved by praise or blame." This is the strength of inner stillness. Not that nothing affects you, but that you are not ruled by what arises. You become steady in the ever-changing winds of life. Consider the story of Riku, a young student who often felt overwhelmed. The demands of school, the pressures of social media, the whirlwind of emotions left him restless and anxious. Meditation seemed impossible. His thoughts were too loud, the silence too heavy. Then one day his teacher gave him this simple advice: don't try to stop your thoughts. Just sit and listen to the sound beneath the sound. So Riku sat. At first, all he heard was noise, the tick of the clock, the passing cars, the rush of mental chatter. But gradually, something softened. He began to sense a quiet presence beneath it all, like the hush of dawn before the sun rises. The stillness didn't erase the noise, it held it with compassion. And for the first time in a long while, Riku felt at peace. Not because the world had changed, but because he had remembered his quiet center. You too can return to that space. It is not far. It's not hidden in a distant monastery or buried beneath years of practice. It's here right now, beneath the surface of your breath, your heartbeat, your awareness. You are already what you seek. If you find yourself in a moment of chaos, a difficult conversation, a crowded street, a racing mind, close your eyes even for a few seconds. Imagine yourself at the center of a storm. Around you, the wind howls. Lightning strikes. Everything feels uncertain. But at your feet, there is a door. You open it and step inside. And suddenly, it is quiet. This is the eye of the storm. This is your still point. It is where the noise cannot follow. Rest here. Let your shoulders soften. Let your jaw relax. Let the world spin outside while you sit in the unmoving center. This is your power. This is your refuge. With time, the more you visit this place, the more familiar it becomes. You may still be shaken by events, but you return to stillness more quickly. You begin to trust the wisdom that arises from silence. You stop needing to control everything because you've learned how to listen truly. Listen to the space beneath the noise. Stillness does not make you passive. It makes you potent. From stillness, wise action is born. From stillness, compassion flows. From stillness, you learn to meet life not with fear, but with grace. You become like the tree, whose roots go deep into the earth, able to bend in the wind without breaking. Take a moment now to reflect. When was the last time you felt truly still, not numb, not distracted, but deeply present? What keeps you from that stillness today? Could you gift yourself 5 minutes, just 5, to sit in quiet, to return home to yourself? Stillness is not about avoiding life. It is about entering it fully with eyes open and a heart steady. When you know how to find your center, you carry peace with you. You become a sanctuary for yourself and for others. And so, as we prepare to move into the next chapter of our journey together, an exploration of compassion and the awakening of the heart, carry this stillness with you. Let it be the ground beneath your feet, the breath that steadies you, the silence that sings softly beneath every sound. The world will always have noise, but peace is not found in escaping the noise. Peace is found in remembering that you are not the noise. You are the silence watching it all. When you begin to quiet the mind and settle into the deep stillness within, something gentle begins to bloom, a warmth in the chest, a softening in the gaze, a readiness to care. This is compassion, not as an idea or a moral obligation, but as a living presence that arises naturally when we are truly present. In the stillness of your being, compassion is always waiting. Compassion in the Buddhist path is not simply feeling sorry for others. It is the ability to feel with them, to let your heart tremble at the pain of another, and yet remain steady and open. True compassion is fearless. It is strong enough to witness suffering without shutting down, and tender enough to hold that suffering with kindness. There's a story told of the Bodhisattva Avalokiteshvara, the embodiment of infinite compassion. It is said that he heard the cries of all beings in suffering, and that his heart broke open, not in despair, but in deep love. From that love, he vowed never to turn away from a single soul, and from the tears he shed, the lotus flower bloomed. This is the paradox of compassion. It is born in sorrow, but gives rise to beauty. Many people think compassion means carrying the burdens of others, but in truth, compassion does not weigh you down, it lifts you up. When you truly care from the depth of your being, it energizes you, because you are no longer resisting the pain of the world. You are embracing it with a heart wide enough to hold it all. Compassion begins at home. Before it can be extended to others, it must be offered inward. And this is where many struggle. We are so quick to criticize ourselves, to judge every perceived shortcoming. Yet imagine a child learning to walk. Would you scold them for falling, or gently encourage them to try again? You too are learning to walk through this life. Stumbling is not failure. It's how we learn balance. Self-compassion means offering yourself the same kindness you would give to a friend in pain. It means saying, I see that you're struggling, and I'm here with you. Not to fix, not to analyze, just to be there in the way that truly matters. Try this now. Place your hand over your heart. Take a slow breath, and quietly whisper to yourself, I'm doing the best I can. And that's enough. Feel the honesty in those words. Feel the way your body responds to the warmth of acceptance. When this inner compassion takes root, it naturally extends outward. You begin to see others not as problems to solve, but as fellow travelers, each carrying their own unseen burdens, each doing their best to find peace in a chaotic world. Even those who hurt us are not immune to suffering. Their actions may be misguided, but their pain is real. Compassion sees the humanity beneath the behavior. This doesn't mean you allow harm or lose boundaries. Compassion is not weakness. It is the clarity to say no without hate, to protect without dehumanizing, to speak truth with love. It is the middle path between indulgence and indifference. The Buddha once said, just as a mother would protect her only child with her life, so should one cultivate a boundless love toward all beings. Imagine holding the world in your heart in this way, not with sentimentality, but with fierce, unwavering care. The kind of love that sees clearly and remains anyway. In your daily life, there are countless chances to practice. When someone speaks harshly, can you hear the fear beneath their words? When someone is rude, can you see the suffering behind their anger? When someone disappoints you, can you remember their own silent struggles? Compassion is not a feeling we wait for. It's a practice we cultivate. It grows through attention, through presence, through the simple willingness to care. There's a meditation called Tonglen from the Tibetan tradition, which means giving and taking. As you breathe in, you imagine taking in the suffering of others. As you breathe out, you send them relief, love, peace. This might sound overwhelming, but the purpose is not to absorb the pain, it's to awaken the heart. To realize that compassion is infinite because it's not yours alone. It's the very nature of awakened consciousness. Practice this now gently. As you inhale, picture someone you love who is struggling. See their pain. As you exhale, imagine wrapping them in a soft light, easing their burden. Then extend this to someone neutral, and finally, to someone you find difficult. This is the true test of compassion, to include even those who challenge us. There will be times when you feel weary, when the suffering in the world feels too much. In those moments, return to your breath. Return to the quiet place in your heart. And remember, you are not here to heal the world alone. You are here to be a lamp, small, steady, shining in your corner of the dark. Even a single act of compassion ripples farther than you can imagine. A kind word, a patient silence, a soft gaze. These are seeds of peace, and the world right now needs more of them than ever. So be gentle with yourself, with others, with this fragile, impermanent, beautiful life. As we begin to move toward the closing chapters of our journey, carry this truth with you. Compassion is not a destination. It is the way. And every time you choose to love where you could have turned away, you are walking the path of the awakened heart. There comes a point on the spiritual path when effort gives way to surrender, not as a defeat, but as a profound act of trust. After all the striving, the searching, the inner work, we are invited to let go, not only of our burdens, but even of our need to control the outcome of our journey. We are invited to step into the river and float, not because we've given up, but because we've finally begun to understand the nature of life. In Buddhism, this kind of surrender is not passive. It's not about doing nothing or accepting injustice. It is about aligning yourself with the deeper flow of reality rather than struggling against it. It is trusting that life in its wisdom carries you exactly where you need to be, even if the path looks different from what your mind expected. We often think of surrender as weakness, but in truth, it is the highest form of spiritual strength. It takes immense courage to release the illusion of control, to stop wrestling with every twist and turn, and to open your hands and say, "I trust." There is a Zen teaching that says, "Let go or be dragged." And if we're honest, we've all felt that dragging when we resist what is, when we fight to keep something that is already gone, when we try to force life into a shape it no longer fits. The resistance is exhausting. It frays the nerves, tightens the heart, and clouds the mind. But surrender brings a softening, a breath, a return. In the moment you surrender, not in resignation, but in reverent trust, you feel something sacred open within you. It's like stepping into warm water after a long day. You didn't know how much you were holding until you let go. Let me tell you the story of May, a woman in her 70s who spent decades caring for others. She had raised children, cared for an ill husband, volunteered in her community. Her identity had always been woven into giving, doing, fixing. But when her husband passed and her children moved away, May felt unmoored. She filled her days with tasks, but the ache remained. One evening, after yet another busy day, she sat quietly by her window and whispered, "I don't know what I'm supposed to do now." There was no answer, just the rustle of wind through the trees. And then she remembered a phrase from a Dharma talk, "Let the river carry you." That night, for the first time in years, she did nothing. She sat. She breathed. She allowed herself to be exactly as she was lost, grieving open. And something inside her shifted. She realized she didn't need a plan. She didn't need to force healing. She needed to surrender. In the months that followed, May began living more slowly. She found joy in simple things, the way the sun lit her kitchen in the morning, the sound of birds at dusk. She stopped filling space just to stay busy. She listened more to herself, to life. And in doing so, she discovered not only peace, but a new sense of purpose that arose organically without effort. This is what surrender makes possible. When you release your grip, life can enter. When you stop trying to direct every outcome, you begin to dance with mystery. You begin to trust that maybe, just maybe, the universe is wiser than your fear. Try this meditation for surrender. Close your eyes and take a slow breath. Imagine you are floating in a gentle river. The water is warm, the current steady but kind. You do not need to paddle. You do not need to steer. Simply feel yourself held, carried. Whisper silently, "I trust the flow. I trust the timing. I surrender." You may feel the mind resist. That's okay. The mind has been trained to control, to calculate, to protect. But beneath the mind is the heart, and the heart knows how to trust. The heart knows how to rest. In Buddhist practice, this surrender is often called letting go of clinging to the past, clinging to identity, clinging to desire or fear. It is not the same as detachment, which can feel cold. Letting go is warm, loving. It says, "I see you, I honor you, and now I release you." You can practice this in small ways every day. Let go of needing to win the argument. Let go of the belief that you have to be perfect. Let go of rushing. Let go of self-judgment. Let go of the future for just this moment and return to the breath. Each act of surrender is a return to truth, a remembering that you were never separate from life, you were simply swimming upstream. The Buddha taught that non-attachment leads to freedom. But what he really meant is this: when we no longer grip reality, we begin to experience it as it truly is, alive, mysterious, benevolent. The fear dissolves. The anxiety lessens. We move not from fear, but from harmony. So, ask yourself gently, what am I still trying to control? What might happen if I let go? Can I trust that I will not fall, but float? And as we prepare for the final section of our journey together, carry this image with you. You are a leaf on the river. You are sunlight on water. You are part of something vast and beautiful and kind. Let go. Let life. Let love. As we arrive at the end of our journey together, let us pause, just for a moment. Place one hand gently on your chest. Feel the warmth of your palm. Let the breath move gently beneath it. Allow your body to soften into stillness, your shoulders melting downward, your jaw unclenching, your spine aligning with the invisible rhythm of peace. You have traveled far, not in distance, but in awareness. Along the way, you have listened, reflected, and opened. And now, you are invited to come home. Not to a physical place, but to the vast, boundless presence within you. The home that has always been here. The quiet center. The field of awareness where everything rises and falls, and yet nothing is ever lost. In the heart of Buddhist teachings lies a simple but transformative truth. You are not separate. Not from the world, not from others, not even from the sacred. The illusion of separation is born in the mind through stories, labels, identities, comparisons, but it dissolves the moment you return to presence. You see, the breath that moves through your lungs is the same breath that rustles the trees outside. The beat of your heart echoes the rhythm of waves kissing the shore. The stardust in your bones is the same stardust that formed galaxies. You are not merely in the universe. You are the universe experiencing itself in human form. To become one with the universe is not to lose yourself. It is to remember who you truly are. To peel away the layers of thought, memory, ego, and story, and find what remains awareness itself. Still, silent, unshakably alive. There is an old Zen story about a student who asked his teacher, "Where is the Buddha?" The teacher smiled and pointed to a tree to the sky, to the student's own hands. "There," he said, "and there, and there." Enlightenment is not elsewhere. It is here, now, in the rise and fall of breath, in the stillness between thoughts, in the soft gaze toward a stranger, in the scent of tea rising in the morning light. It is easy to think awakening will feel like fireworks or revelation, but often it feels like the simplest thing: a deep exhale, a gentle yes, a moment of perfect clarity when nothing needs to change. As this realization deepens, your vision softens. The world once divided into me, and then becomes whole again. You see your own longing in another's eyes. You see your joy in a child's laughter. You feel your sorrow mirrored in the pain of others. And yet, instead of turning away, you soften further. You step in. Because you no longer believe the boundaries are real. Even your suffering becomes sacred. Not because pain is holy, but because it connects you to all beings. Your brokenness becomes the bridge. Your vulnerability becomes the thread. And your heart, once guarded, becomes a sanctuary where others feel seen. There is nothing mystical about this. It is life lived with full presence. When you make soup, you stir it slowly. When you clean with love. When you hug someone, you let it last just a second longer. And when you speak only when it adds kindness to the silence. The Zen master Dogen once wrote, "To study the way is to study the self. To study the self is to forget the self. To forget the self is to be awakened by all things. This forgetting is not erasure, it is expansion. You don't lose yourself, you expand beyond your small self. You become the sky that holds all weather, the ocean that welcomes all waves." Try this reflection now. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. With each inhale, feel the air connecting you to the trees, to the oceans, to every being who breathes. With each exhale, feel the boundary between you and the world begin to blur. There is no line, no edge, only presence. Can you feel it? That you are not watching the universe from the outside. You are inside it. You are of it. You are it. And yet it speaks through your unique voice, your smile, your hands, your quiet acts of courage and compassion. This realization transforms how you live. You begin to walk slower. You begin to listen deeper. You begin to choose love over fear, not because it's easy, but because it feels true. You see beauty where you once saw boredom. A cracked sidewalk becomes a sculpture. A stranger's laughter becomes a song. The wind brushing your cheek becomes a blessing. You no longer live to consume or achieve, you live to witness, to participate, to co-create. You ask different questions. How can I serve? How can I listen more deeply? What does this moment need from me? And the answers come not from the mind, but from the body, the breath, the heart. Your presence becomes medicine. Just being near you, others feel more grounded, more seen, more safe. You don't need to fix anyone. Your calm is enough. Your stillness is a lighthouse. In the Mahayana tradition, the awakened being does not retreat from the world, but re-enters it with eyes wide open, with arms ready to embrace, with a heart spacious enough to hold sorrow and joy together. This is your calling now, not to escape, but to embody, not to transcend, but to descend into the sacredness of this moment. Before we prepare to close this journey together, let this final reflection settle in. What if nothing is missing? What if you are already enough? What if life is already whole and your only task is to see it clearly? What if you no longer tried to hold the universe and instead let it hold you? You don't need to become enlightened. You only need to remember. You are not a mistake. You are not separate. You are not alone. You are a thread in the great tapestry of existence, a note in the eternal song, a breath in the sacred rhythm of all things. So walk gently, smile often, love wildly. Let your life be a quiet offering to the whole. And in those moments when you forget, return here, to this breath, to this stillness, to this truth. The universe lives through you, and it always has. And now, dear friend, we come to the end of this gentle journey. But just as a wave returns to the sea, this ending is not final. It is only a pause, a space, an invitation to carry the stillness, the wisdom, and the love you've discovered here into every corner of your daily life. You have walked with ancient teachings. You have listened to the soft whispers of the Buddha's words, breathed into stillness, touched the silence beneath your thoughts. You have remembered that your heart is vast, your mind is luminous, and your life is part of something sacred and immeasurable. Let this not be a moment you leave behind. Let it be the beginning of a new relationship with yourself, with the world, and with the great unfolding of life itself. Take a breath, feel it rise, feel it fall, and remember, no matter what the day brings, peace is always one breath away. You do not need to chase stillness. You are stillness. You do not need to seek the universe. You are already one with it. As you rest, now perhaps closing your eyes for sleep, may you feel deeply held. May you know that you are enough exactly as you are. May you trust in the timing of your life, in the quiet work of your heart, and in the kindness that flows endlessly through you. If this journey has touched you gently, pass it on. Share this space of calm with someone who needs it. And when you're ready, return. This path is always open. This light never fades. Until we meet again, may you be peaceful. May you be free. May you be well. Sweet dreams.